Welcome everyone. Look, it's summer solstice. Look at this GreenFire. So this is the first proto program of GreenFire, and for everyone who's in the state of Michigan, the Michigan Great Peace March, dedicated everybody up there in the beautiful Saugatuck and all the people in Michigan. Big peace sign out to you loving people. We love you all in Michigan. Yay! Yeah. So like we were on the Michigan Peace Walk, and summer solstice was a big time for us. I think we came into Traverse City or somewhere thereabouts, and this was dedicated again, I say, to the people of Michigan for the Michigan Great Peace March, as well as to Chakravarti, who is the alter ego of Thomas Merton, who was a monk in the Trappist monastery in Kentucky, and Chakravarti was a monk in India, and they were alter egos. And Chakravarti loved fire, and in the Hindu way of looking, fire is another symbol of the divine. So Chakravarti, we were out in the desert near Death Valley, and we had a great big bonfire going. And we were at the nuclear test site off of US 95 coming out of Las Vegas. And we were there all night having a night vigil with a big bonfire. And this man drove in, parked his car on the interstate and walked in about 4 miles and said he was from India. And he saw this fire, and he said, India, the fire is a sign of God. So he joined us because he saw in his own tradition the transcendental quality of a sacred fire, the green energy of a sacred fire. So the sacred fire of these peace journeys, as well as the summer solstice, may that live in our hearts today, June 20th, Wednesday, which is the turning of the seasonal wheel of the summer solstice. Summer solstice means, the solstice means the sun stands still for 4 days. So like it's a standstill time in the seasonal wheel. So if you got anything going on, this is a time to go deeper. Whatever you like, whatever it is that's your path, whether it's art or technology or music or education or communication or information technology. This is your time to shine, because it's all coming together. This is a coming together of the tribes, north, south, east, and west. And it's also a beginning of going to the Sun Trail, which is where the Rainbow Gathering will be. I'm not sure where the Rainbow Gathering will be, but people just Google in Rainbow Gathering location on Google, and it'll give you the map to where to go. They start on today, and they go 2 weeks into July 4th, and then they're on some high forest meadow where 15,000 people get together in a big meadow on July 4th at noon and do a planetary meditation for peace, okay? They do a planetary meditation for peace, and that's what we're here to do today. A planetary meditation for peace on earth. May peace prevail upon earth in the rainbow hoops of all the nations. Red, yellow, black, and white. This is the joy of the journey that we are yearning for. Peace on earth in all nations, in all tribes. Om Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Om Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. May peace prevail upon earth in the rainbow hoops of all the nations, red, yellow, black, and white. And may these emanations be a graceful shower upon all the nations. May these emanations of this GreenFire hour be a graceful shower of peace upon earth, upon all the nations. And with that, we will visit the piece that is written today actually is a co-created event with the Echozoic, which is a co-creation of the sacred art, And in order to get there, we're going to see this as a triptych, a trilogy, a triptych of poetics. To see where we've been, we sometimes have a reprise and a recapitulation just to see where we're going. Sometimes we have a reprise. And in that sense, we'll have this reprise that begins with what's going on here. Think outside the box. Coming around the riverside curve, the Palace of Dreams occurs in front of 528 South Dubuque Street. There's a tall leaning tree. It's a magnetic deviation zone, an anomalous phenomena dedicated to all of you there and here and everywhere. An anomalous phenomena of learning in the Palace of Dreams. And our scrotum stroker doesn't live there because he thinks inside the box. Always plotting, always scheming, always demanding, never learning, never giving, never forgiving. He sits inside his MBA suite, always calculating, always subdividing the real estate he doesn't even own. He sits there night and day in front of his screen, one computer screen, one iPhone screen, one smartphone screen. He sits in front of his screen all day and night and squeezes out the last demons of his hedge fund. That is his entire foreplay for the day, as he always thinks inside the box. And not a whole lot of people know about him. He's nowhere man. And not a whole lot of people know about him as he hides behind screens from wake up to drop dead away sleep, counting his profits instead of sheep. And when you come around Riverside Curve into the Palace of Dreams, you don't think about these things. They are horizontal. You begin to learn a new way. You begin to think outside the box. What does this mean? It means you vacate the scene, the horizontal scene of top-down authoritarian mind, culturally created intentional chaos that keeps the sheep from ever looking up. The same horizontal scene that has as its dogma for the religion of churchianity, shock jock stockbroker developers, the wrecking ball whoopee crane of creative destruction, built-in obsolescence, of the grim raper called capitalism in the belly of the beast, of the whorehouse called Babylon. And to thus think outside the box is Exodus. Exodus from the horizontal plane. Everyone is staked upon, where telephone poles are crucifixes upon the earth, whose talking wires sputter the offal of Babylon's gutter talk of Attila the stockbroker, and this hum never lets up. In the beta wave capital called Empire. Why do they call it enterprise? Because they got you thinking, to enter, you get a prize. What they don't tell you is some Wall Street sucker comes up behind you and double rabbit punches you by surprise. That's your prize, sucker. It's called bankruptcy in good old Babylon. And that's horizontal thinking. Inside the box on the staked plane, in your face, raw baboon Babylon, capitalism. It ain't got no moral compass, It's just got the demon seed of greed. And no cat in the hat can pull your shit back, Jack. 'Cause this shit for brains has a combine ravager, as a raper of the commons and all good things, even common sense. Why? Because of people who think inside the box. So now, dear friend, let's take a pause right here. Let's breathe deep here. Let's now bring this whole thing to a standstill here at the summer solstice. Let's begin to look up. Let's begin to go vertical. Let's begin to think outside the box. That means the radical thought and the radical shift and the radical thought that a lot of things are free. Let's begin to look at the space between molecules, the space between objects. This stuff is necessary. This is the right stuff. This stuff don't carry no unholy. This is beyond all dogma. This is beyond all orthodoxy. This is beyond all hierarchy. This is beyond all authority. This is beyond all states. This is beyond all geopolitical mind maps. This is beyond all institutions. This is vertical, dear friend. This is free, where we begin to set the terminology to think outside the box. This is not necrophiliac thinking, love for the dead. This is not love for death thinking. This is biophiliac thinking, love for life thinking, where biocracy is the key in the commons, round the riverside curve, where the seventh generation yet to come has a hold on this vision, and the seventh arrow, you and me, hold this vision, which now occurs in this palace of dreams called the Good Red Road, the road of life, which runs north and south, which is vertical on the medicine wheel of life. And it comes in colors everywhere, in the rainbow hoops of biodiversity and cultural diversity, in red, black, white, and yellow hoops of all the nations of humanity. Here, the Time Lords put the hue back into humanity. And this asymmetry is all diversity through biophilia, this love for life on this vertical tree. There is a flowering of the sixth sun on this new sunrise of humanity. This includes you and me, and the magical child inside you and me, which gleefully sings, "Wee!" as we think outside the box. That's part one of this trilogy, of this solstice inner dialogue. Part two is Viroqua event, entering the inhabitory time of the driftless through the bioregional vision. There comes a time when we think outside the box for our very survival, not just our own survival, but for the entire planet's survival. Both biodiversity and cultural diversity. We begin by looking at our home as biome, as biophiliacs, lovers of life. A way of saying Om. This is a biophiliac's way of saying Om, biome. This biome is our planetary home. Bayami, the ancient name for Mother Earth. Bayami, this little blue dot, this blue-green marble of water planet, is home, our biodome, our geodesic biodome. And when you give an iota, dear friend, and when you give an iota you care inherently about the biota and about the 7th generations yet to come, just as our elders and ancestors cared about us. We are the 7th generation yet to come. We are the 7th generation yet to come of our ancestors. And we don't carry no one holy. We walk on the shoulders of those who came before us. Just a little respect, just a little reverence for those who have come before us and have passed on. Requiescat in pace. May the perpetual light shine upon you. May you rest in eternal peace. Just a little reverence, just a little respect for those who have come before us and who have passed on to the other world. Requiescat in pace. May the perpetual light shine upon you. May you rest in eternal peace. Just a little reverence, dear friend. Just a little respect here at the summer solstice for those who have passed on, who have come before us. Requiescat in pace. May the perpetual light shine upon you. May you rest in eternal peace. We want to give thanks for their ways of daily holding us up, their ways of daily feeding us, their ways of daily clothing us, their ways of giving us shelter and food and clothing to meet our needs, our daily bread. And in the 3rd morning of our awakening, we are beginning to believe it, because we don't carry no one holy. We care for the least of these, just as they are. Sometimes in life, we are the least of these. Sometimes, not all the time. Let us not fall in love with the objects purchased by our daily bread, for they are temporal and an illusion. And we come to a time, roundabouts here, when we have a revival, a camp town meeting, a Chautauqua. And this is that time, dear friend, when we have that camp town meeting, this revival, this Chautauqua. And this is that time, dear friend. It's time to seek, it's time to speak to the carriers of the dream wheel. Let's see what the dream wheel is on our biocompass. Let us see what the dream wheel is on our moral compass. It is the biopsychic field through and upon which we astronavigate our day. It is literally where our field of dreams lay. Our field of dreams lay. The carriers of the dream wheel say the driftless is this biopsychic field. Literally where our field of dreams lay, the carriers of the dream wheel say the driftless is this biopsychic field of this great medicine wheel. This is a higher elevation of our higher union. This biopsychic field charges and activates the field of play. And the auras of wonder as our natural place. As we leave the necrophiliac love for death of capitalism, the world of being boxed in, the world of thinking inside with bucks, the world of being boxed in the horizontal way of thinking inside the box. And we begin our exodus, dear friend. We begin our exodus, our radical shift, our epigenetic shift into the planetary organism of biophilia, our love for life. Biophilius. Biophilius. Biophilius, love for life. and love for life only, as we free ourselves outside the box, as we enter the vertical, and we enter the liminal, the once upon a time timeline of the dream time of our lives, here in the driftless, an evolutionary spiral shift, and it ain't too late to end up on the hate in this eternal etheric summer of love, and this timeline of our lives in the dream time, this evolutionary spiral shift. And it ain't too late to end up on the hate estuary in this eternal etheric summer of love, turning, turning, turning into the planet of the dove. This is the timeline of the unfolding lotus. This is the timeline of the unfolding lotus. Because we are now entering re-inhabitory time. We are now entering re-inhabitory time, right here in the driftless, as we are pioneer aviators, and we love Avatar as pioneer aviators, right here in the driftless, as we awaken in our exodus, that there is no driftless without us. We arrive through bio-entrainment of our minds as new pioneers in the driftless, as we go vertical and enter our manifest divinity, the birthright of ourselves as cosmic humanity, right in the epicenter of our ecocentric thinking, here of the ecozoic, right here in the great Mahayana middle way, right here in this great upper Mississippi flyway of our born-again hippie, of this great Majamican upper Midwest. This is our simple realignment of our thinking. As we both follow our truth, we follow our truth and our truth, and follow our bliss, and go vertical, right on out to the void. So in this timeline of our lives, into dreamtime thinking, is an evolutionary spiral shift, and it ain't too late to end up on the hate estuary in this eternal etheric summer of love, turning, turning, turning into the planet of the dove. This is the timeline of the unfolding lotus, dear friend, because we don't carry no one holy, because we are now entering re-inhabitory time, right here in the driftless, as we awaken in our exodus, that there is no driftless without us. We arrive through bio-entrainment of our minds as new pioneers in the driftless. We go vertical and enter our manifest divinity, birthright of ourselves as cosmic humanity, right in the epicenter of our ecocentric thinking and the ecozoic, right here in the great Mahayana middle way of this great upper Mississippi flyway, born again hippie of this Majamican upper Midwest. This is our simple realignment of our thinking, as we both follow our truth and follow our truth and follow our bliss and go vertical right on out to the void. We follow our bliss. And this ain't easy, my dear sisters and my dear brothers. This ain't easy. This is gradual. This is intrepid treks. This is going on up the rough side of the mountain. This is going on up Jericho Road. And this is going on up the King's Highway. This is intrepid treks. going further through process into this higher union of our cosmic humanity, dear friends, of all hoops of the Rainbow Nation, red, yellow, black, and white, all races of our cosmic humanity into this higher union and manifest divinity to activate this divinized light of wonder. We simply begin our entrance into reinhabitory time right here in the driftless through the algific talus slopes up along the Mississippi River, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, and the algific talus slopes and the kettle moraine forests. And we do this by sourcing our joy. Through this bioregional vision, we enter the craton. We enter the craton as pioneers, where nature is legislature. Where nature is legislature, there is a council of all beings. There is an all-species project and an all-species parade. Nature is legislature, and the new law is land, air, and water. Through our ecosystems, through our watersheds, through our soil sheds, land, air, and water. This is the Vertex Sutra. This is the Vertex Sutra. So this is part 2 of this trilogy, of this driftless thinking outside the box, reinhabitory time into the driftless. And part 3 is written today on summer solstice. Dear friend, the green fire is that sacred fire within. And may the sacred fire within live within each and every one of our hearts. May it burn off the dross and reveal the emerald eye of Merlin's sacred troth. Merlin's emerald eye in the sacred fire. Kosmogenesis. It's summer solstice. Arctic Zimbabwe is not a meme. That ought to make you feel really good, because Arctic Zimbabwe is not a meme. That ought to make you feel good. Go low and go slow. Go low and go slow is the motto of summer solstice. Summer solstice means the sun stands still for 4 days. This is a major arcana, a cardinal point on the seasonal wheel. These are the high holy days. And the Sundance begins. Sundance ceremonies begin. And they go on for an entire fortnight, up and through the July 4th Rainbow Gathering noon meditation of Planetary Home on this Biome biodome blue water planet. And these 4 days are a major arcana, a cardinal point on the seasonal wheel, these high holy days. And we just rode right into this. And we just rode right into this on a horse with no name. And we just rode right into this on yonder steed on a horse with no name. And this solstice is where our soul stands still for 4 days, and these high holy days. And we enter the sweat lodge of our own minds. We do purification ceremonies. We pray and we sacrifice in the Sundance. We sacrifice and tear away our flesh for all of our relatives. This is a high sacred act. And the Sundance ceremony up in Lakota country, Pahasapa, Black Elk Mountain, and around Pine Ridge. And we just rode right into this on a horse with no name. And this solstice is where our souls stand still for 4 days. As Tunkashila thunderclaps roll the clouds at cumulus. And Tunkashila thunderclaps roll the clouds at cumulus. And we just rode right into this. And a friend told me she just got kicked out of a yoga conference in Phoenix. And a friend told me she just got kicked out of a yoga conference in Phoenix. Another friend said he was with Guru Amma in New Mexico. Om Jai Jai Ma was the song when the rain was falling. When it was raining Om Jai Jai Ma, Om Jai Jai Ma, Om Jai Jai Ma. And another friend in Dayton said she had an out-of-body experience when she went for some kind of nuclear medicine clinic. She had an out-of-body experience and nearly died. And with this out-of-body experience, it was with a white light tunnel in a waiting station with other people waiting. And then there was a strong pull, like a magnet at her back, that pulled her away from there. And she opened her eyes, and was back in the medical clinic with the crash cart ready to be on her. And she didn't know where she was. So this was a very much near-death experience for her, with the crash cart ready to be on her, and she didn't know where she was. And for a few blinks, she didn't know where she was. And then her eyelids made a few blinks, and she found herself back in the medical clinic with this out-of-body experience, going toward the white light in this waiting room. This was all in response to a message sent about raining and celebrating the rain. Om Jai Jai Ma, Om Jai Jai Ma, Om Jai Jai Ma. And we arrive into Driftless as our cosmic birthright, cosmic with a K, our celestial inheritance. And the whole thing comes through in wave after wave as lightning and thunder roll. And we arrive into the Driftless as our cosmic birthright, our celestial inheritance. And the whole thing comes through in wave after wave as lightning and thunder roll on this 4 p.m. summer solstice afternoon. And this has been the pattern this whole June. Darkness at noon, mid-90s, and humidity way up in the 90s, followed by record and near-record rains on this, the 10th anniversary of the epic flood on the Cedar River. Still, this is the summer of love. And we arrive into the Driftless as our cosmic birthright, our celestial inheritance, and the whole thing comes through in wave after wave as lightning and thunder roll on this 4 p.m. summer solstice afternoon. And this has been the pattern this whole June. Darkness at noon, mid-90s and humidity, followed by record and near-record rains on this, the 10th anniversary of epic flood. Still, this is the summer of love. turning, turning, turning into planet of the dove. And Driftless has a deep ecology and a deeper sacred terminology and deeper yet sacred geometry with astro-archaeological mounds, with healing energy rays known as HRS, in emanations coming in from everywhere, emanations from the hierarchy, emanations from the hierophany, emanations upon to the Hiraths in the Driftless, emanations to the Hiraths in the Driftless, who are awakening to their manifest divinity each and every day. These are graces from divine intelligences up and down the plane once one goes vertical and thinks with the biophilius, a love for life mind. Biophilius, and this biophilius mind, this love for life, and the thunder rolls, and the thunder rolls, and the thunder rolls, and the thunder really rolls, and the tree of life appears. The tree of life appears. Kosmogenesis, healing energy waves as graces. Healing energy waves as graces. Starseed transmissions from higher intelligence of celestial spheres. And this hookup is never ending. And this hookup is never ending. And near Strawberry Point at Backbone, these emanations form a beatific vision that lasts all night. This cosmogenesis is a fixity of white light, both horizontal and vertical, on an axial mundi plane, a white cross in midair that lasts all night, an aurora from an off-planet borealis. And these starseed transmissions from higher intelligence of celestial spheres. And this hookup is never ending. And near Strawberry Point, northeast Iowa, in the Driftless, at Backbone, these emanations form a beatific vision that lasts all night. This cosmogenesis is a fixity of white light, both horizontal and vertical, dear friend, on an axial mundi plane, a white cross in midair that lasts all night, an aurora from an off-planet borealis, a white cross in midair, amidst the standing stones of Backbone. This is epicenter of Driftless. This cosmic consciousness is implicate loving, implicate infinite order of the compassionate universe, a higher union with higher beings, bodhisattvas, all with bodhicitta motivations, saints, divas, bone margas. Through this direct yogic perception, and grounding of starseed transmissions, seeding the Driftless and the entire planet with higher intelligence of divine compassion. The awakening begins. The awakening and remembering of our cosmic inheritance. The awakening and remembering of our cosmic inheritance. And right here and right now, grounding of our aboriginal being. Tat Vamasi, thou art that. And right here, right now, grounding of our aboriginal being. Thou art that. Be here now. Here in this re-inhabitory time out of mind in driftless, cosmic planetary paradigm mind shift. Here in this re-inhabitory time out of mind in the driftless, this cosmic planetary paradigm mind shift from the P3, of power, profit, and pleasure, of the pleasure dome of Xanadu, from P3 of power, profit, and pleasure of the pleasure dome of Goldman Sachs, Wall Street, grim reaper of capitalism. And this cosmic planetary paradigm mind shift shifts to P3 of a higher union, which is people, peace, planet. The 3 P's of the new paradigm. People, peace, and planet. In this infinite, immense, intelligent compassion called Sophia. And the thunder rolls here on the summer solstice. And the thunder rolls here on the summer solstice. And the thunder rolls and rolls and rolls here on the summer solstice, turning of the seasonal wheel at standstill. And the thunder rolls here in the driftless on summer solstice, turning of the seasonal wheel at standstill. In this evolutionary spiral hegira, upward through grace alone. In this evolutionary spiral hegira, upward through grace alone, we see and discover Holy Trinity through the grace of this Immaculate Conception. And we see and discover Holy Trinity through the grace of this Immaculate Conception. This Immaculate Conception is life, love, and light. The Holy Trinity of life, love, and light. In our holy electricity body, here regeneration and miracles are possible. Here regeneration and miracles are possible. In this Kairos driftless moment, exuberance is the key, exuberance is the way, exuberance is the exaltation in these emanations of amazing grace here in the driftless on summer solstice. And so this is part 3. This is part 3 of the trilogy, and we shall then reiterate all 3 parts with just a little understanding of what we're moving. The cosmos with a C is a Carl Sagan cosmos, and that is infected with 3 mental viruses. When it is earthbound, and it is horizontal, and data, IT driven. And the three mental viruses are the monoculture known as IT, the monoculture known as soybeans, the monoculture known as one-way thinking, the one way only, like monotheism. There's only the Abrahamic God is the only God. That's the one God is the Abrahamic God of Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. That's monoculture. That's mono. The second mental virus is reductionism. Everything is reduced down to its component, subcomponent parts, and everything is behavioral, is taught by behavior and cultural expectations, and permutations are not really allowed. This reduction is everything is reduced down to certain dogmas, certain formulas, certain paradigm. Everything's a constant. That's the second. That's the second mental virus, and that too is earthbound, with the Carl Sagan's Cosmos with a C. And the third mental virus is permanence. Everything is written in stone, nothing changes, nothing such as impermanence. Well, we now know that, we now know that constants fluctuate and anything is possible, and regeneration and miracles are possible, but that's not reductionist thinking, and that's not hierarchy thinking, that's not patriarchy thinking. So those three mental viruses are the monoculture, reductionism, and permanence, when impermanence is really the way. The way, the truth, and the life is impermanence. And that's because change is essential. Because anything is possible in order to have healthy diversity. And that is the antidote to monoculture is diversity. The antidote to reductionism is a hierarchy of kingdoms, a vertical hierarchy of kingdoms that is not earthbound. And the antidote to permanence is impermanence, which allows for constants to fluctuate and regeneration. It allows for spontaneity and miracles to become possible. Marvels, as we would say. And there is a certain kind of energy called holy electricity. I sing my body electric. This is called the chi energy. You could call it other prana. This chi energy is holy electricity. And we can use our body as an antenna to use for the sacred art. Enter the fields of sacred art, dance and other forms of sacred art. Those are rituals, you can call them ceremonies or just sacred art, dance. Dance, dance. And these horizontal is where the social forces of conditioning and all the IT and all the social communication, the social platforms that people are using now, which is, not internet, but Facebook, you name it. Those are all the social forces of conditioning, and that's all earthbound and it's all horizontal. The expectation of social norms is also part of that conditioning. And that's behavioralism, and that's reductionism, and that's horizontal thinking. Whereas the supraconsciousness, the supercollective conscious, is vertical thinking. And that allows for us to become in touch with our being, which is universal in nature and celestial in nature, the depths and heights of our being, of our existence. And that is where the people, peace, and planet have a vibratory field that is now dominant. This is the new paradigm. This is the Aquarius. This is the new age we're entering, through entering into the vertical. And the sea with the cosmos that Carl Sagan is talking about is some violent space out in the universe, asteroids and collisions and all that. That's the violence of the cosmic with a sea, and a vicious cycle, a vicious circle. Well, the cosmos with a K is not violent at all. The cosmic consciousness of the K is that there's an implicate, loving, infinite force of compassion and order in the universe, and it is an evolutionary spiral. It's an evolutionary spiral. It's not the Big Bang. It's not original sin. It's not the monotheism. And it's not Darwin's evolutionary survival of the fittest. This is flourishing of the wisest, survival of the wisest. This is Sophia country, the divine feminine. This is the celestial loving mother and father. Abun, which Jesus spoke in Aramaic, Abun means mother, father, God. And that is our aboriginal being. This infinite, immense intelligence of compassion known as Sophia, the divine mother. This is the ground of the divinity of our being. And this is vertical. And that is the Holy Trinity. Love, life, and light. So in that little journey there in the summer solstice, we'll have a quick Billy run through of this event. And first we went into our heads, and now we've gone into our hearts, and now we'll do a quick Billy, through all of this. Think outside the box. Coming around the Riverside Curve, the Palace of Dream occurs in front of, the Palace of Dream occurs in Iowa City. Now in front of 528 South Dubuque, there's a tall leaning tree. It's a magnetic deviation zone, an anomalous phenomena of learning in the Palace of Dreams. And our scrotum stroker doesn't live there because he thinks inside the box. He's always plotting, always scheming. Nowhere man he is, always demanding, never learning, never giving, never forgiving. He sits inside his MBA suite, always calculating, always subdividing the real estate he doesn't even own. He sits there night and day in front of his screen and squeezes out the last demons of his hedge fund. That is his entire foreplay for the day, as he always thinks inside the box, and not a whole lot of people know about him, as he hides behind the screens from wake up to drop dead away sleep, counting his profits instead of sheep. And when you come around Riverside Curve into the Palace of Dreams, you don't think about these things. They are horizontal. You begin to learn a new way. You begin to think outside the box. What does this mean? It means you vacate the scene, the horizontal scene of top-down authoritarian mind, culturally created, intentional chaos that keeps the sheep from ever looking up. The same horizontal scene that has as its dogma for the religion of churchianity, the shock jock stockbroker developer who has the wrecking ball whoopee crane of creative destruction, of built-in obsolescence of the grim raper called capitalism, in the belly of the beast of the whorehouse called Babylon. And to thus think outside the box is Exodus. Exodus from the horizontal plane everyone is staked upon, where telephone poles are crucifixes upon the earth, whose talking wires sputter the awful of Babylon gutter talk of Attila the stockbroker, and this hum never lets up. In the beta wave capital called Empire, why do they call it Enterprise? Because they got you thinking if you enter, you get a prize. What they don't tell you is some Wall Street sucker comes up behind you and double rabbit punches you by surprise. That's your prize, sucker. It's called bankruptcy in good old Babylon. And that's horizontal thinking. Inside the bucks, on the stake plane in your face, raw baboon Babylon, capitalism. It ain't got no moral compass, it's just got the demon seed of greed. And no cat in the hat can pull your shit back, Jack. 'Cause this shit for brains has a combine ravager and a raper of the commons and all good things, even common sense. Why? Because of people who think inside the bucks. So now, dear friend, let's take a pause right here. Let's breathe deep here. Let's now bring this whole thing to a standstill. Let's begin to look up. Let's begin to go vertical. Let's begin to think outside the box. That means the radical thought that a lot of things are free. Let's begin to look. Let's begin to look at the space between the molecules, the space between objects. This stuff is necessary. This is the right stuff. This stuff don't carry no unholy. This beyond all dogma, orthodoxy, hierarchy, authority, states, institutions. This is vertical, dear friend. This is free. And this is where we begin to set the terminology to think outside the box. And this is the way it is in these commons around here. You and me and the magical child inside you and me, which gleefully sings, think outside the box. This love for life is on the vertical tree. There is a flowering of the sixth sun. When we gleefully sing, we, and think outside the box. And then we move to the Ruropwa event, and then into the last turning of the solstice wheel, which is a beginning of Kosmogenesis. And this Kosmogenesis was a cardinal point on the seasonal wheel, and we just rode right into this on a horse with no name. And this solstice is where our soul stands still for 4 days. As Tunkashila thunderclaps and rolls the clouds of cumulus, and it's all rolling. And we arrive into the driftless as our cosmic birthright, our celestial inheritance. And the whole thing comes through in wave after wave as lightning and thunder roll on this 4 p.m. summer solstice afternoon. And this has been the pattern. Darkness at noon, followed by record near record rains. Still, this is the summer of love. Turning into the planet of the dove, and driftless has a deep ecology and a deeper sacred terminology and deeper yet sacred geometry, with astroarchaeological mounds, with healing energy rays and emanations coming in from everywhere, emanations from the hierarchy, the hierophany, emanations to the hieroths, who are awakening to their manifest divinity each and every day. These are graces from divine intelligences up and down the plane once one goes vertical and thinks with the biophilious mind of love for life. And the thunder rolls, and the thunder really rolls, and the tree of life appears. Kosmogenesis, healing energy waves as graces, starseed transmissions from higher intelligence of celestial spheres. And this hookup is never ending. And near Strawberry Point at Backbone, these emanations form a beatific vision that lasts all night. This cosmogenesis is a fixity of white light, a white cross in midair that lasts all night, an aurora from an off-planet borealis, a white cross in midair amidst the standing stones of Backbone. This is the epicenter of driftless. And this cosmic consciousness is an implicate, loving, infinite order of the universe, dear friend. In this evolutionary spiral hegira upward through the grace alone, we discover and see the Holy Trinity, life, love, and light in our holy electricity body. Regeneration and miracles are possible in this Kairos driftless moment. Exuberance emanations are all around here. So may they be with you, dear friends, in this GreenFire hour of amazing grace. Blessings to you.